There we go.
All right. Good day, guys. Hello, YouTube family. Welcome to another session with the Commission Project. Today we have in the studio.
Hi, my name's Dion.
That's Dion.
The editor of the Commission Project.
100%.
Yeah.
And in the background, we have just on vocals, guys. Unfortunately, they're not showing their faces. We've got.
Hey guys, it's Wendy.
Hi, it's Rejoice.
All right, we got the full team, guys, all scattered. It's a bit different, but anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, we're going to be discussing a topic that's quite popular in mainstream media, social media, and every corner. It's called toxic masculinity. Yeah. I don't know why toxic. I don't know why masculinity. But anyway, we're going to divulge and get into this thing. I think the lady's going to shoot a few questions towards us. And
I think what I'll start off with first is what actually is the definition of toxic masculinity. So toxic masculinity refers to a cultural concept or set of social norms and behaviours traditionally associated with masculinity that become harmful when they are rigidly enforced or taken to extremes. Right?
That's deep.
That's deep,
That is very, very deep. So we're talking about things like emotional suppression, aggression, dominance, that kind of stuff that is quite toxic.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
After hearing that definition from Wendy, what does the term toxic? Oh, that's going to be a tongue twister also. What does that term mean to you?
Toxic.
Toxic.
Dion, what do you think it means?
What do I think? For me, it's not even just what it means, right? Because that definition, I feel like it came across pretty well. It's very attacky, don't get me wrong, but it's true.
Yep.
Right? But what comes to my head is more the examples. Whenever I think of what that definition was, you know, in a lot of ethnic cultures, not saying which particular one, but I know in like sometimes Sri Lankan culture, it's the man that's dominating, and sometimes they can go make someone else feel belittled, their children, their wife. That what comes up in my head, not necessarily the meaning, but the action that can fit towards that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So masculinity is not toxic. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
So it's toxic masculinity is two different things.
Yeah.
So I think the one description that you mentioned in toxic masculinity was emotional suppression.
Yeah.
That is confusing because like emotional suppression is necessary at certain times. For example, if you're working in law enforcement and you're under attack, etc., the training that they teach you, that they give you, is basically to respond to a otherwise uncontrollable situation by maintaining or suppressing your emotion to make an accurate decision. If you're discharging a firearm, whatever you're using force or whatever the case is, in order for you to be effective and functional in your role as a law enforcement officer, you've got to suppress your emotion to perform that task. So there's certain parts where as a man, right, or female, any human being, in order for you to react, respond, save somebody, help somebody, you've got to, for a moment, put your emotions aside and then react. Firemen got to go through the same thing. I think even counselors to a certain point, because like they got to listen to like information without any judgment and emotion. So I think it's a bit of a confusing one there.
Not so much confusing. So if we look at it a little bit more, it says that it's a core trait, right? Where the belief that men must show vulnerability, sadness, or affection, right? That they must not show. So, so that's kind of where the way they're going. Not because of your job, but generally, say a husband or a boyfriend at home who just can't show that kind of affection or they don't show sadness, they don't cry, all of those kind of things. So I think that's more the side that the definition was coming from.
Okay.
That makes sense.
You know, I like to talk about that discussion as a point first, because I feel like a lot of us guys, you know, we're learnt, you know, keep it rugged, don't show the emotions, show the emotions you're weak. And that's generally what I thought for a bit. That's what I've learned. Being a man, of learning how to be a man, you know. I never really see my dad cry. I never really saw my uncles. No one. A lot of male figures. I never see them cry. And you like as me as a boy turning to a man. That's what I had to learn. Like, all right, I don't see this person, that person, this person crying. Maybe I don't need to cry as well.
So like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then it's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry, but okay, look, there's another thing. So, crying is I think it's everything within reason, right?
Yeah.
So toxic masculinity is the idea that men don't cry at all. I think is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not realistic, right? It's not. It goes against human nature, because emotions, and everybody has them, male or female alike.
Yeah.
So it becomes toxic maybe at a point when we go against what our body is saying. Where I'm like in mourning or I'm sad and I want to cry, but then because of peer pressure from other guys saying, look, dude, men don't cry, and then I kind of hold back because that emotion is gonna come out in one way or the other. I think this is where like abuse of alcohol, abuse of drugs, etc. comes out, and abuse of other people comes out.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the issue, trying to suppress it. But at the same time, right, I know a few ladies, and please ladies, y'all can comment on this one if I'm wrong, but I don't think as a lady you want to be married to a person or dating a person or just having coffee with a guy who was just overly emotional. Like imagine you with your significant other, you know, and you're confronted with a stressful situation somewhere in the city or hanging out, and here come, you know, these other people and they're intimidating you guys, and then your significant other, your male person that's with you, starts breaking down in tears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll work.
Or someone attacks you when they run away or something like that.
You know what I mean? So I think we've got to get the balance.
Yeah.
You know?
What does that balance look like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, can there be like a rule or like a demarcation? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because someone can get emotion out of anything, but what's justifiable, what's not, by society means and what our personal means.
That's it. Like, okay, we'll go into the world of sports. Like I've seen a few soccer players, right? At the final or whatever the case is, they scored the winning goal or the goalkeeper saves a goal and they win the match or whatever the case is. They get emotional and the guys cry.
Yeah.
You know, in that space, it's different, and it's a whole lot of men. I've seen a whole lot of men just break down in that space, including fans. They just start crying and carrying on. And that's like they get the pat on the back off. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. So, having said that, I've also seen the flip side of things where like guys have just been in a space of sadness, but they've gone so much into their emotions and feelings that it's like, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know where the balance is. I think it varies per individual. And I think as you said earlier on, per culture.
Yeah,
it
per
depends.
culture.
Culturally,
I feel like it's such a broad topic with so many different factors that come in it.
Yeah.
You know, like as mentioned, for me, I see a lot of like ethnicity come into it and tradition.
100%.
You know? There can be emotion when it comes to sadness, but sadness turns to anger, anger turns into violence, all that kind of thing as well. That's also like an action as well that kind of fluctuates with the name.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
True. And even like economical pressure. So, so growing up, like I grew up poor, very poor. So my grandmother was going through emotions as a woman and, you know, as a human being. But there was like certain parts in our life, in our upbringing, where she had to suppress her emotion just to kind of keep the young people, the grandkids, inspired. So she had to kind of shelve her feelings just to get us by, because we were looking at her, and if we saw her get emotional and out of control, etc., that would have thrown us off. But she had to just have like a poker face and deal with us, you know, plain face without any really visible feelings, and get us to move along. And by default, having seen her go through that, we, like my cousin and I that grew up in that space, we had to have the same mentality where we were like, you know what, if I need to get this job done, I've got to get this goal reached, get this mission accomplished, I've got to suppress my emotion just to get the job done. And it becomes a habit where you kind of suppress your emotions, you get the task over. And if you do that enough times, it becomes part of who you are, right?
Yeah.
Then you kind of don't express your emotions anymore. And this is going up in South Africa. Like, this was our now norm, and that's how it is. And I think as time goes by, you meet different people that were raised different, where they were more in touch with your feelings. So they're like, dude, what's wrong with you? But I think it's economics, it's ethnical background, it's all of these factors that add up and get to this place.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to the question, who's making these rules?
So I just want to touch back on your story about your grandmother, right? So you were saying in today's society, people would say that your grandmother was a strong woman, right?
Yep.
But if you put a man in the same position as her, they'd say, oh no, that's a toxic male. Right? So can you see? So for all of a sudden, for a woman to go through everything and you know, suppress emotions and all that kind of stuff, she's strong. But when a man suppresses emotions and doesn't, you know, do certain things, he's seen as toxic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just thinking about that correlation.
Yeah, that's really good, really good.
Yeah, whether it's like just specific because it's a female and a male, that's what we're known as.
Yeah.
I mean, like a double standard?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. But why is that a thing?
I think,
Yeah.
look, I think maybe maybe it's viewed or labeled as toxic when there's a victim. You know, like if it's the man suppressing his emotion, if it's a man using his male privilege, like his male benefits, being stronger, etc. If he's using that in a way where it's suppressing somebody else's rights or somebody else's freedom in the way of bullying, etc., then maybe it's toxic. Because that exact same behavior, like, say I've got a strong, say like I'm a physical person, I'm just strong and I use my strength to oppress people, that's toxic. I'm abusing my strength, right? I'm using it like in the wrong way. But if I take that same strength and I use that to defend my family from harm, that's not bad. You know what I'm saying? So like it's masculinity, but then that same energy directed to the people that are close to me to suppress them and their rights, then it's toxic.
Okay. All right. So it's more of the use of your masculinity
That makes it toxic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So interesting.
like if you're in the gym and you training and you're flexing and you're doing all this, is that toxic? We're not calling that toxic.
No, I just no.
You know what I mean? So if you're using your male privilege, because there is a thing like male privilege, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think when ladies go for a walk at night, they're always looking over their shoulders and
Yeah,
whatever.
of course.
And if a man does the same, he's not doing that much.
Yeah.
Like I think they view that as male privilege.
Yeah.
So that male privilege used just to do that sort of stuff, that's not toxic. It's only toxic if it's directed against, used as a tool to harm.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity.
Interesting one, hey?
Alrighty.
Let us know your opinions, actually. Let us know the commenters, let them know their opinions.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. So, guys, I know we've been talking a lot about what we believe toxic masculinity is. So, how do you think men are actually taught to handle conflict, anger, or sadness? Today, maybe compared to 20 years ago?
Yeah. I want to hear what you have to say, and then I'll tell you what I've learned.
Okay, look, growing up in South Africa, I was in school in high school in the 90s, and I like
backstage, everybody's faces went, what?
good old 90s. So in my community, right, I had an older cousin. I didn't have like a whole lot of older brothers or siblings, etc. So in the hierarchy of the community, I was like low on the bar because I didn't have that many guys to back me up in a fight or whatever the case is. So in the context of where I grew up in the ghettos, right, I wasn't viewed as strong. So in order for me to survive on the playground, I had to present myself as strong. I had to present myself as tough. So I had to be loud. I had to be sort of intimidating myself. I couldn't be a pushover. Otherwise, I would have become a victim. And in that situation, circumstance kind of creates what we would call toxic masculinity, because in order for you to survive, you've got to roar louder than the guy next door. Otherwise, they'll run you over, right? So in that context, we became, not just myself, a lot of us in the community, we had to become guys who suppressed our emotions and our feelings just to survive. And even if I was sad because of something that took place at home, maybe we didn't have enough food or whatever the case is, when I stepped outside those doors, I couldn't be that sad person, because once again, that would make me vulnerable. It's like the law of the jungle. If you're an animal that's limping, you're gonna be a target for the lion. And so that's what circumstance created for me. And as a result of that, I grew up in that space where whatever you saw weren't really what I was feeling inside. Because if I showed you how I really was feeling inside, it was too raw and too vulnerable, and would have made me a victim in that space. And as I said earlier on, because you do this repeated behavior over and over and over, it becomes part of you. It's no longer just an act, it becomes who you are. It's like memorizing something. If you read a line over and over and over again, it becomes a part of your mind, right? That's how you think. And that's how behavior works as well. And so a lot of us from the old neighborhood are like that. Like, we don't just cry, we don't just complain, we don't just moan, we just power through because circumstance made us that way. But I must say this, we did not do that to oppress others. It weren't at anybody, it was just for us to get by. And I think that's maybe the difference.
Yeah. And Dion,
Cool.
what are your thoughts?
Retell me the question again before.
All right, so how do you think men are taught to handle conflict, anger, or sadness?
Okay, well, for me, it's pretty interesting. I would say, in terms of being taught about conflict and everything, repeat that one more time, the question.
Sure.
Make sure I'm going the right way.
So how do you think men are taught to handle conflict, anger, or sadness these days?
I think, well, when I was growing up, and still am, I don't think we were really taught throughout primary school, high school, how to deal with that, right? Like, let's say if you had like a scrap in the schoolyard or something, maybe a teacher on like duty at lunchtime will tell you, hey, back it off. I'll tell you this isn't this. But it wouldn't actually tell us what to do about it or how to like resolve a conflict. So I think depending on who the person is, they will go find a searching for an answer from somewhere else. Some people see solving conflict from like a UFC match or WWE match, you know? But then myself, I saw the way that my dad dealt with conflict, and that's what I used towards myself. Okay, if he's dealing with that, maybe he's doing the right thing because he's my role model. That's my dad. So I'm gonna gather what he does and put it with how I'm meant to deal with it. Whether he's right or wrong, I will never know, depending on who the person is. But I think throughout time, as you go, you start to make your own judgment. And through different situation or friendships, what went right in this one, what went wrong in this one. Learn about it, use it with the next one. How do I deal with this conflict? Did the next thing that I used from the previous one to this argument, did that actually work, or did it just make it worse? You know? But I wish there was actually more lessons about how to deal with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's when emotion come in place. Like, oh, no, you've done something hurtful to me. I don't want to talk about it. But then I'm gonna leave you deciding what's going on.
Exactly.
You know?
So I reckon, more of that stuff where you kind of, there's like a role modeling happening. And I think like just a guide to not have or act in toxic masculinity. Like, it's if we all act in a way as males, in a way that doesn't suppress anybody else, that doesn't oppress anybody's beliefs, we're not stepping on anybody's toes. If whatever you're doing is not directly harming anybody or whatever, then I think that's kind of safe. However, I think to perfect it it's one of those things where you need older, more experienced people in your circle, where it's like, okay, Johnny, I think that's a bit too much. Johnny, that's too little of that, and we kind of get to like that sweet spot where it's kind of perfect and smooth.
Yeah.
I think more of that behavior, and that can only be like take place in our homes.
Yeah.
You know, uncles, dads, granddads, great granddads. It can take place in our communities, neighbors, older neighbors. If there's like young males in your space, like if you step up and be like, look, I'll just mentor this person. And I think like that sort of behavior done in our youth groups, done in our churches, done in our schools, etc. Like that role modeling stuff. And then we can learn like that, because I don't think there can be a book that teaches you.
No.
Nah. It can't be like a black and white, one size fits all type of approach. I don't think.
There's no such thing,
Nah.
especially with that.
It's as we journey through life, we got to just kind of learn this stuff, and because again, different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So where I grew up, you needed to be the way I was. However, somebody grew up in a space where they were more secure. They had both sets of parents. They had education. They had finances, etc. They would have been brought up in a different space.
Yeah.
But yeah, just goes like that.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you feel comfortable being emotionally open with all your male friends?
Nah.
Well, I say for me, this is actually something that happened so recently, so it's a great topic. So when I was like maybe about a year or two ago, I was going through a fair lot, but I was never open to talk about it. And as slowly as those emotions kept developing, I started going more mute. I started becoming more shelter. And then a lot of my friends and family would be like, something's up with you, something's changing. Why is that? What are you doing? And then this question's coming in, and I'm just trying to protect myself. I'm not trusting you. I'm not trusting my mindset. I'm not trusting my actions and what you're doing. So when it comes to being emotional and opening about it, at that stage I wasn't. Now, as that kind of process and mind carried on throughout what it is now, since that kind of space that I was in before has left, now I've started to be a little bit more emotional with some of my friends and family now. Like even with my mom, I was barely ever emotional with my mom. Now I actually cried to her, maybe about a week or two ago, where she's like, I've never seen this happen to you in 22 years I've known you, which was shocking to her. And then as well as one of my good friends, Shaq, I called him on the phone because I was really upset about something. And he was like, this is so random, what's going on? Yeah. But just seeing the emotion that you're doing and how your friends and family are gonna see it as well, I think it brings a lot more, how can I say it? Like unity back to it.
Makes it more real?
Yeah, it makes it more real instead of like, you're distancing yourself, you're becoming a shell.
Yep.
And now you're like, okay, you're breaking free, you're trying to make things happen again. You're being more human and you're being more male.
Yeah, that's
what
fair.
it is.
That's fair.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But my thing is, so oftentimes emotion gets associated with crying. You know what I mean? Like there's other emotions, but crying is always the key one when you hear the word emotion.
Yeah,
you know
that is true. It literally just happened.
Yeah. So my thing is like, if you are always candid, you're always expressive, there's less time for stuff to like build up. Like there's some people I know who just, they call it wearing their emotion on your sleeve. Where whatever comes in their mind, whatever is affecting them, they let it out there and then. A lot of those people that I know, like they sleep, hit on the pillow and they gone. They like sleeping, they gone because they let everything out immediately. But some personalities will hold on to stuff and some may need prompting. A question, some kind of trigger, for them to let loose and then it comes out. You know what I mean? And I think, once again, it's a personality-driven thing, and it's how you handle, it's how you've been brought up. It's a mixture of many different things. And like I'm always talking, so I don't have any time for anything to stay in my, like if I'm mad at the thing or the person or whatever the case is, it's gonna come out immediately. So when I'm going to bed, when I close that bedroom door, there's nothing I'm walking in that thing, because I believe in just getting everything out immediately as opposed to holding it. Because holding it, I think that's what leads to that toxic space. So when you're holding it, you kind of need now other crutches. That's when alcohol abuse comes into place. drug abuse comes into place, etc., because it's just unhealthy and it's been kept in there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to your question, Rejoice, as far as among my friends, nah.
I wasn't surprised at that answer. Yeah, I knew that one.
I got my mentors that I go to.
Yeah, get yourself a mentor. That's one thing that I never learned, but getting it now, all my days.
Yes,
phenomenal. Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Shout out Uncle Johnny and Clive.
Get a good mentor.
Yeah. Get yourself a godly mentor.
That's the thing. Don't get a mentor that's going to be gossiping about you.
Don't get a mentor that does that.
You
It's better
don't
be like,
tell them your deepest secrets very often.
You're hearing it from the next person, the next
You hear what Johnny did?
yeah, get a good quality mentor, good people.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't get one that's going to be like, do you know what Johnny told me? No, you don't want that. You don't want that one. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I think the topic of toxic masculinity can go on and go on and go on, but it's needed for this time and this season. What stands out for me as weird and concerning is the fact that it's only being addressed in recent years. This is a new thing as far as discussion is concerned, but it's always been happening for generations and generations ago. So I think for us to kind of keep on top of it and keep it healthy is we just got to keep these spaces open, keep talking about it. And I think, Dion, we should do this more often.
Yeah, up to you guys, to be honest. If they like it, they like what we're talking about. Let's see.
Yeah,
I know
that's
I've got a lot more questions to ask. But
Oh, there you go.
yeah. So I think it'd be great. to do this
Yeah,
again
I think
now.
we did another one.
Yeah, okay, cool, guys. So you heard from everybody, please.
All right, we want 1 million likes and then we'll get the next one.
A
Give us a
million
million
likes.
likes, people.
Give us the like so you can know interested.
It was just me just clicking 1 million times. Sorry.
And chuck it in the
there's sort of
comments. Put
things
in the
from
comments
YouTube.
the
Yeah.
different questions, or if you have a few facts, some data, some studies that are done. We in Australia, so like depending what country you at, give us that data and let's talk about it and see what the deal is.
Yeah.
So we can keep discussing this thing. It's very, very important to raise young men who are not toxic, but still masculine, because you kind of want that masculinity there, all right? Let's be very clear on that one. All right. So please, guys, click like, click subscribe. There's one more missing.
Notification bell.
Notification bell. Hit that one.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. See you next time.
Peace.
Peace.